While Arizona's primary election was Tuesday, Illinois' was back in March. Illinois Republican Attorney General candidate Bob Fioretti joins us now to talk about that and more. Bob, thanks for taking time with us here on The States. Now, our team's watching closely what continues to develop in that case that federal prosecutors have brought against Democratic State Representative Carol Ammons and her husband Aaron, who's also the clerk of Champaign County. What's your take on these allegations?
Well, first of all, they are allegations, but I think Carolyn Emmons should resign now from the office. They forced one of the other legislators out of his office just recently based upon some sexual misconduct, and I think the same ought to be given here. Same type of due process, but the people of this state need to clean up the corruption that's happening on all levels. We all know it's not uncommon. I think the people of this state are feeling the crushing weight of corruption, and they're paying for it on a day-to-day basis here. So she needs to go. I called for her resignation the moment after the indictment came down, and I believe I was the first out of everybody in the Republican Party to do so. So that's my.
You also have called for Aaron Ammons, the clerk of Champaign County. Why should he be stepping down?
Well, he's in charge of the elections. We need fair, clean elections. Way too often in this state, we hear it. We hear the problems. And I've seen it up here in Chicago, and I know how it goes. And we've tried to stop it as much as we can. Cleaning up the voter rolls here in this state are sometimes impossible. Tell me why our government, our state, does not want to turn over the voter rolls and have them cleaned, as the Trump administration is asking. There is no answer but one. They want to keep on cheating, and that's as simple as that. I'm going to be dealing with the clerk of the office soon. I plan on being down in Champaign County, and we're going to pursue this a little bit further than just our discussion today.
So with these cases and with other cases, I mean, we've got the Mike Madigan case. He's sitting in federal prison right now after being found guilty for a whole host of different corruption crimes. We didn't really see much of anything from the Attorney General's office on these issues of public officials who are elected by the people to do the people's business being charged, and also later, in at least the case of Madigan, being convicted of using their offices for personal gain. What, in your estimation, should the Attorney General's office be doing about these types of cases?
The one thing about the Attorney General ought to be on top of the corruption cases that are going on in this state. His office, that office, feels the weight of political corruption. We also feel the weight of corruption is. I mean, every criminal complaint that's filed in any office throughout the 102 counties it says the people of the state of Illinois versus the defendant. And who represents the people of the state of Illinois? The Attorney General. He has the authority, the power by both Constitution, statute, and case law of making sure. We have the ability to use a statewide grand jury, and it's been silent for all these years. It's time to utilize that and restore order to the House. When I say the House that Lincoln built, this House that is so great in terms of a great state, and we need that Attorney General to do such.
So if you were to be the Attorney General and you saw that federal prosecutors have filed charges against public official, whatever, would you then, how would you work with federal prosecutors? Would you look to get that grand jury to file state level charges?
I would work completely. I would work with the federal government. A lot of the charges, if you notice, are small time nickel and dime ones that the Attorney General's office has filed. We have to work closely with the federal government here. And I think there's been a hands-off approach, especially under the Fiscal administration, and that's its aim, to stay as far away, and all they can do is criticize Donald Trump and move forward from there. I think we need people that can work together, bring people together, and create safer streets, stronger communities and thriving businesses. And the way you do it is by making sure that crime is out here in the state, political corruption is out, and we have a new sheriff in town. I mean, we've had, what was it, 12 years under Lisa Madigan, 8 years now under Kwame. It's time for change. We need a fresh approach to this office, and I do bring that. I have the knowledge, the experience, the integrity to do what's necessary to represent the people of this state.
Now you're going up against Democratic incumbent Attorney General Kwame Raoul. He's been releasing news releases this week talking about how he has gone up against the Trump administration and halted various policies or executive orders that President Trump's trying to issue. He's joined dozen plus other attorneys general across the country in suing the Trump administration. Is that a role that the AG's office in Illinois should be performing, or would you take that as a case-by-case basis?
Well, I think we would definitely take it by case. I mean, he's filed over 65 cases, or I should say he's joined in on 65 cases. And the news media, especially some of the legacy media here in Chicago and even downstate, makes it sound like he's the one taking the lead. I think he just waits for the call from Washington, and once he gets the call, he joins in on the lawsuits. If you notice, none of the lawsuits are really filed in the state of Illinois. They're filed along both coasts, California, Oregon, where you get favorable results. New Jersey and a few of the other states, too, out east. That makes a big difference. I mean, it's the insiders who are writing the rules here, and we, the working people, pay the price for what he's doing. And now he asks for more money. Well, when you're joining 23 other states, let them do the heavy lifting. And if they have a case, and they're finding out in most of the items that have been filed that there is no case. So it's time to move on. We need somebody who's going to represent the people. I mean, how many people? Here is an attorney general. He's received over $4 million from Pritzker. He received $1 million direct from Mike Madigan, and I believe several million almost from other sources of that Madigan control. At the same time, he received a lot of money from the people that testified in the ComEd trials. Commonwealth Edison up here in Chicago, controlling. He received money from them. I've heard almost $300,000 from their entities. And the people's bills have gone up about 260%. Who is he listening to? I mean, we need somebody to stand up for the people of this state, and I plan on doing that.
And you'd mentioned Governor Pritzker in this overall conversation. It seems that any time the governor's sued, be it the gun ban challenge or a variety of other lawsuits that people may bring against the governor, the attorney general is right there. If you were elected as the attorney general, how would you handle such cases? Would you automatically just defend the governor, or doesn't the governor have his own legal staff to handle these types of cases?
Well, actually, the person who can only make appointments for all of the departments, including the governor, is the attorney general's office. And I would take a case by case, looking at everything. But I would also make sure from the start, because so much of this is interpreted into their bent, into their ideological bent that they want to push upon the people of this great state. And this has to end at this stage. I am going to be very cautious, but again, I'm going to represent the people and not the politicians to make sure that we have the right judgment in all of the cases.
And then finally here, the attorney general got 1.1 million votes in the primary back in March. You got 495,000 for the general election. What's your plan to get those general election voters into your camp?
Well, Greg, I don't want to tell you everything because then they would know. But you know what? I'm traveling the state. I'm going, as the chair back here, I'm traveling the state. I'm going back to back. I'm listening to everybody. I've been in many of the counties downstate. I'm going to continue that. and I'm gonna fight for the difference between the current Attorney General and I are simple. I'm going to fight for common sense values that everybody here in this state shares. I'm going to stand up for crime victims instead of the violent criminals. I'm going to stand up for citizens instead of illegal aliens. I'm going to stand up for parents instead of the teachers unions, for taxpayers instead of the corrupt politicians that have been running most of the state. And I will always stand with law enforcement. I think that's a big difference because the Democratic mantra is the criminals are the good guys, the police are the bad guys, and the victims don't count. I am going to change that philosophy when I assume office in January after winning the election in November.
Bob Fioretti, the Illinois Republican candidate for Attorney General, greatly appreciate you taking the time with us here on The States.